I love the Oklahoma City Thunder. SGA has established himself as a fringe top 5 player already. I called Chet the best prospect in a decade before he was drafted, and I made a video earlier this year raving about Jalen Williams, who I think has all NBA potential and is the perfect third star. They have the most loaded young core since the KD Russ Harden Thunder without a doubt, and I see titles in their future. But there's one guy who some hyped up as a key member of that young core who's just not. Not only is he not some future star, he's an active negative, and that's Josh Giddey. Giddey had a fascinating pre-draft arc. I remember discovering him when he was considered a fringe first rounder and becoming enamored with his passing, as a lot of people have at various points. But when he then went 6th overall, I was shocked and I did not like it. It felt like a huge reach. The main reason for that is that there aren't good NBA players who look like Josh Giddey. Poor athletes and poor defenders with broken jump shots just don't succeed. Not to mention, Giddey also lacks the sort of great finishing touch or really high level change in pace that could at least somewhat compensate for his lack of athleticism and outside shooting. He is, simply put, inept as a scorer. Of the 174 players averaging 10 points per game this season who have appeared in at least 20 games, Giddey ranks 170th in scoring efficiency, despite playing in a dreamlike 5-out situation with great athletes, shooters, and playmakers all around him. The first obvious weakness Giddey has is that he can't shoot. He makes just 32% of his triples, and this is a problem. Last week, Dallas stopped guarding Giddey. SGA easily gets past his man, but Maxi Kleber is in perfect position to help because he's left Giddey in the strong side corner. It feels like SGA has to make this pass. It'd be the easiest assist in the book, but Giddey clangs it and Maxi doesn't even really bother to close out. Here, it's Luka in perfect position to help because he too has abandoned Giddey in the strong side corner, and Luka doesn't even acknowledge Giddey's presence before he bricks. All game long, Dallas begged Giddey to shoot, and he finished 3 of 14 from the field. But the negative impact of his presence goes beyond a putrid shooting night in a vacuum, because the more Giddey misses, the more comfortable defenses are aggressively helping off of him to clog up his teammates' driving lanes. Teammates who become less inclined to pass him the ball because it's most likely going to be a wasted possession, so now they have to force tougher shots in more congested paints. Playing a non-shooting and unathletic wing in today's NBA is a death sentence, and that's Josh Giddey. In another recent matchup, Minnesota frequently stuck Rudy Gobert on Giddey, which really just meant Gobert was able to serve as a full-time helper, parked in the paint because he was more than happy to leave Giddey in the corner. Gobert can double SGA without fear here and stay and help on this Chet drive, because a possession later when SGA does deliver the skip pass to Giddey, he misses. And watch how smart teams will close out on Giddey in situations like this. The defender may lunge towards him, but his focus is actually on taking away the passing lane for him to swing to a better shooter in the corner. No defender is ever upset over a Josh Giddey 3. And teams will guard him with bigs in the playoffs so they can have that full-time helper, because it's not like he can beat them off the dribble in space, attacking closeouts. Gobert easily stays in front of him here. When you get into an actual chess match, like the playoffs, Giddey gets played off the floor. You never double one pass away, certainly not in a 1-point game in crunch time, unless the man one pass away is Josh Giddey in the corner. Late in games, teams will send multiple defenders at OKC's stars, and Giddey, if he's out there, will sit in the corner and miss. Or he won't shoot at all, which is also bad because his teammates have created an advantage and he just negates it. He doesn't even look at the basket here, or even throw a pump fake to try to attack a closeout, and he's never going to get a step one-on-one. He won't take this open 3. Again, watch how Markkanen is more focused on taking away the swing pass to the corner than actually closing out on Giddey, and because he completely lacks quickness, Giddey resorts to physicality on this drive, as he often does, probably commits an offensive foul and bricks a floater anyways. And Giddey's unfortunately just not very strong, so these physical drives often result in him getting stonewalled and forcing a tough floater. And Giddey relies on these shots a lot. Nearly 30% of his shots come from inside the paint, but outside the restricted area, which is a high number, but he makes under 39% of those shots, well below league average. Giddey simply lacks the athletic tools to get good looks around the rim, so he'll more often settle for these touch shots. There's a clear driving angle here for a better athlete to go at Sabonis, but not for Giddey, who will simply leave a floater short. And that's really the nail in the coffin for Giddey, an obviously limited athlete. He doesn't even have very good touch. Some of his misses around the rim are mind-boggling. He gets the ball back after being stripped for a wide-open layup, and it's not even close. He's also very lacking in confidence as a finisher. So factor in all those limitations, and Giddey sucks as an at-rim finisher too. The average NBA player shoots about 67% in the restricted area, and he is just under 57%. And not as some small guard. The man is 6'8". And by the way, as much as he struggles as a catch and shooter, Giddey literally cannot shoot pull-up threes. He cannot fluidly rise up into his shot off the dribble. So as an on-ball scorer and off-ball floor spacer, Giddey is really quite bad, which means sometimes it feels like the Thunder don't even know what to do with him on offense. You'll occasionally see him, a bad finishing wing, in the dunker spot. He has solid feel as a cutter off ball, but lacks the athleticism needed there to remotely make up for his deficiencies as a shooter. On a team already rich with ball handlers like SGA and J-Dub, who can create penetration, score, and playmake, you start to wonder what Giddey's even doing out there. And it is worth noting how many times Giddey touches the ball just to sort of aimlessly swing it to another player without even an attempt at creating an advantage. Just an utterly pointless touch. And that scoring ineptitude is the reason that even though Giddey is a great passer, he's poorly equipped to make the most of his skill because he doesn't create advantages. Drop any designed action to get another player open off ball that just requires a man to make the pass, and Giddey can do it. He can put any pass on the money on a sideline out of bounds play or dot up a cutter right as he springs open. His vision, timing, touch, accuracy, and variety of deliveries and angles at 6'8" are all so impressive. But while he's a great passer, he's not a great playmaker, because the latter doesn't just deliver a good pass after another player has gotten open on their own merits off the ball. He creates the play, warping the defense by threatening it as a scorer. LeBron James collapses the defense by attacking the rim as an elite athlete and then kicks out to a shooter. Steph Curry creates a 4-on-3 for his teammates by making the right pass out of a blitz. A defender digs on a Nikola Jokic post-up and he zips the ball over to a shooter. Josh Giddey doesn't pressure the rim or threaten teams with over-the-top shot making or demand a second defender on a post-up. He's not a scoring threat from anywhere. He's just a good passer. There are very few dudes who carve out important roles in today's NBA when that's all they have. Maybe Draymond Green can get away with simply conducting the offense, but he's also an all-time defender in a system uniquely predicated on its stars springing open away from the ball. Josh Giddey is a poor lateral mover with a nearly negative wingspan, so that's a little bit different, playing alongside two great on-ball creators. So why would they need more Giddey possessions? And if you put him off ball, you negate his one good skill, his passing, and teams are happy to just ignore him. In a basketball utopia, he's the one misfit toy. Giddey is a disaster scoring from everywhere and in every play type. He wastes possessions on ball, hurts their spacing and defense, and unsurprisingly, is the only Thunder starter this year with a negative on-off number. The good news is that Josh Giddey Plus just dropped, a fella named Gordon Hayward, who, when healthy, brings pretty much all the good that Giddey does. He's a little less special as a passer, but he has more opportunities to actually use his passing, creating drive and kick advantages because he's significantly more athletic and capable of getting by people, and he's a better paint finisher and much better shooter. Replace Giddey with a guy making 40% of his catch and shoot threes this year, and lo and behold, you have to guard that guy. So I'm excited to see Hayward in action in OKC. So that's the good news. The Thunder have found at least a short-term solution to this Giddey problem, and they needed it because he is a playoff liability waiting to happen. And I know he's young, but to those holding out hope, I just have to ask, where does he transform as a player? He'll always be a negative defensively. He'll always be a poor athlete. He's not a great shifty ball handler. And for his jump shot to meaningfully improve, he'd have to really rework his mechanics, and his touch isn't great anyways. The fact that coming into this year, ESPN had him ranked above Kristaps Porzingis, who I did my last video on, boggled my mind then, and it boggles my mind now. And oh my god, there are so many more I forgot. What the hell happened here? But the good news is, the Thunder are so damn stacked that they can afford to miss on a Josh Giddey. They're a more serious playoff team with Hayward out there, and I promise you, the future is still very bright in OKC. I just don't think Giddey's a part of it.